There are two Israeli boys, 12-year-old twins, and they're 2 months away from their big bar mitzvah party. Their dad decides to surprise them and get them flights to New York for a quick vacation. They go to Brooklyn, where the father originally grew up, and he introduces them to his childhood rabbi. They take him out to a beautiful dinner, and in the middle of dinner, 20 minutes in, the rabbi gets up and says, "I'm so sorry, I gotta run." Father says, "Is everything all right, Rabbi? Where are you going?" He says, there is a poor couple who tried to have a child for 5-6 years. They just had a baby boy 2 weeks ago, but now the doctors are saying the baby boy has a rare illness. He needs a special operation that insurance won't cover, and the rabbi has to secure another $10,000 for the operation, or the chances are looking very slim. One of the bar mitzvah boys looks at his dad and says, "Dad, why don't you give the donation of $10,000? Father says, "Son, I would love to, but we just paid for this expensive vacation to New York, and then we have your bar mitzvah coming up. That's not cheap. I can't afford it, unfortunately." Bar mitzvah boy says, "Dad, forget about my bar mitzvah, give the rabbi the check." Father is surprised. He looks at the other twin. He says, "What do you want to do?" Thinks for a minute, and he says, "I don't need a bar mitzvah, Dad, give the check." So they give the check to the rabbi, and they go back to Israel 2 months later. Instead of a big bar mitzvah party, they have a few friends over instead at the house. They do barbecue, they have a good time, and they see the rabbi from New York comes. The rabbi says, "I'm happy to say the operation was a big success. You saved the baby boy's life." They're so happy to hear. They dance, they smile, have a great time together, and fast forward now 22 years. One of the bar mitzvah boys, now he's married and his son is getting bar mitzvahed, and they decide to throw a big party. The rabbi from New York surprises them. He comes to the party. They say, "Rabbi, long time, how are you? Please bless us. Please give us a nice speech if you may." Rabbi says, No, but if it's okay with you, my friend would like to speak." They don't know who the friend is, but they say, "Okay, by all means, sure." The friend gets on stage, says to the bar mitzvah boy, "Mazal tov, we wish you great things, all the best. We're so happy to be here to celebrate with you. I want to tell you a quick story about your father. 22 years ago, my parents had me. I was 2 weeks old. The doctors said, it is not looking good for your son. There's a 70% chance he dies, unfortunately, from this illness he has. Your father was about to get bar mitzvah. He decided to sacrifice his bar mitzvah to make a donation, and that donation saved my life. I'm happy to say I'm here with my wife right now and my 2 kids. I waited my whole life to tell you this. Thank you for giving me the gift of life, and thank you for my family. I owe my family all to you." From that one sacrifice, the bar mitzvah boy gives up his big party, and he ends up saving a boy's life, who ends up growing up, getting married, and having 2 beautiful children. And that's just the start. Imagine how many mitzvahs that religious family is going to do now, and all of those mitzvahs, everything came from this one sacrifice, from that one mitzvah. So a lot of times we think, I can't make a big difference with a small donation or with doing a mitzvah, giving up my time, but there's always a chain effect. Same way a good stock like Amazon or Apple, the same way they might give a beautiful dividend and you'll continue to grow your money. With a mitzvah, there's a much bigger dividend in that you're actually changing the world. Because all you really need to do to change the world is change one person's life, and Hashem is watching everything. So I believe there's nothing that will get his attention more than trying to help out another person and making all the difference for that one person. That's really all it takes. And God willing, we can look into how we can help others, and in turn, hopefully Hashem can help us. We are now in the 9 days leading up to Tisha B'Av, which is the saddest day in Jewish history. And there's an important story I believe we should always remember. Around 2,000 years ago, there's a wealthy man who decides to throw a big feast. He has his messenger go out to send invitations to the party. The messenger is supposed to invite a friend by the name of Kamsa. He invites a man by the name of Bar Kamsa by accident. The party begins, and it turns out this Bar Kamsa is a sworn enemy of the host of the party. So the host sees him, he says, "What are you doing here, my enemy? Get up, leave, get out of here." Bar Kamsa answers him, he says, "If it's okay with you, I'm already here. Let me stay, I'll pay for my food and beverage, and then afterwards I'll get up, I'll leave." Host says, "No, get up, leave right now." He says, "Please, I don't want to cause a scene here. Let me stay, I'll pay for half of this feast. I'll pay for half of it, let me stay." He says, "No, get up, leave, get out of here. You're my enemy, get out right now." He says, "Please, you're causing a scene. I'm embarrassed right now. Please don't make this worse. I will pay for the whole entire feast. Let me just kindly stay." Host decides to decline. He picks him up, he throws him out of the party. This man is furious. He says, "I cannot believe this." He's humiliated. Says, how come the rabbis, on top of all this, how come the rabbis saw this and they didn't say anything to the host of the party? Why didn't they stand up for me, another fellow Jew? Why did they not say, this is wrong, let the man stay? This is not okay. He vows, I will have my revenge against these rabbis. Bar Kamsa, he goes to the Roman Caesar at the time, and he says, the Jews are plotting to revolt against you. They're plotting to start a war. Roman Caesar at the time is shocked. He doesn't know what to believe. So he decides he's going to send a sacrifice offering to the Beit HaMikdash to see how the Jews react. Bar Kamsa takes the sacrifice offering. It's a young calf to be sacrificed, and he cuts a blemish under the calf's eye. He does this so the Jews do not accept the sacrifice. And the Jews have some suspicion there's something fishy going on here, but they still decide we cannot accept this. If we do this now, then it's going to send a bad precedent for the future where people think they can take blemished animals and sacrifice them. So the Jews decline the offering. The Roman Caesar is furious. He can't believe this. He decides he wants to start a war against Israel, the nation of Israel. He destroys the Beit HaMikdash. He destroys the city of Jerusalem, and the Jews are exiled from the Holy Land. All of this we see is from the actions of one man embarrassing another man. Today, it's unfortunately a similar situation where we have all this social media and we become a little bit careless. We're in multiple WhatsApp groups, and at the end of the day, it's going to happen where we talk about other people, and it's something we really, really need to be careful to avoid. Saying one wrong thing can anger Hashem, and it can also put the person in great sadness and cause great pain. I believe truly that nothing upsets Hashem more than bad actions towards another Jew. They also say, Rabbi Akiva, 24,000 of his students died in a plague, and they say what triggered the plague was lack of respect and honor between the Jews of the time. So this is what I believe is the number one thing that upsets Hashem. We have a great opportunity now during the 9 days to reflect on our biggest mistakes and how we can improve on them. I believe also the most important thing is not even to be God-loving, but be God-fearing. Because if you're God-fearing, you will not be casual with these commandments, with these important things. And one of the biggest ones, as we see, is always speech. Anytime there's bad speech amongst the Jews, the whole entire world suffers. So let's take this time to really look inside of ourselves and see who we may have done wrong to, how we can improve, and how we can be more careful to guard our tongue so that, God willing, the Jews can be united more than ever. There's a religious man who was married for a few years with no children. Every day he comes home from work, he's saddened to see his wife just sitting there waiting for him, and she just gets sadder and sadder that they cannot be blessed with any kids. So the saddest part of the week for them is always the Friday night. They do Shabbat dinner alone together, and they hear the neighbors' kids always singing songs, and it just makes them more and more depressed that they cannot be blessed with children. So one Friday night, they are sitting together, they say Kiddush for Shabbat, and the wife goes to the kitchen to get the food. She comes back and she steps on something, she spills everything. She spills the chicken, the soup, the whole entire Shabbat meal. The husband, instead of getting very, very upset, he says, maybe this is my Yetzer Hara testing me. So instead of getting very upset and screaming at his wife, he starts singing Yeshet Chayil again. He starts singing it and he keeps repeating the first line. He says, Hashem, my wife is amazing and she's so righteous. My wife is so good and she's so righteous. He keeps singing songs of praise about her, and he's singing it from the bottom of his heart. And then he says, Hashem, please bless my wife with children so that they can truly see how righteous my wife is. The wife comes to him and is so happy by what her husband did. She right away hugs him and they start crying. They hold hands and they just eat the challah, the only food that's left for the Shabbat. And then afterwards that night, the husband goes to sleep. He sees in his dream, it's his father. And his father says, you have no idea what kind of difference your singing today made in the heavens. Instead of getting angry at your wife, you were praising her. You were singing songs of praise. The angels were dancing to your beautiful words. There was a decree that you would never have children, but by your big, big mitzvah tonight, you will now be blessed with kids. Fast forward about a decade or so, and this religious man, he was blessed with 8 children by this one kind deed. The beauty of this story is we really never know which mitzvah is going to change the world for us. It could be small one, medium, big, we don't know. And we are constantly being tested every single day. Any bad event is just a situation where we could get to greatness. Hashem asked Avraham Avinu, sacrifice your son. He didn't blink twice. Right away he says, I'll do it. Right away he decided to grab his son and go sacrifice his son. So any obstacle we see, any challenge, any rough day, anything that gets in our way, instead of getting stressed, let's try to look at it as this is a chance to reach greatness. This is a chance to really show Hashem we have faith. Even though we're having a bad day, Hashem, I know you're testing me. I will not be quick to anger. I will not lose my cool. And every day we see it. So it could be something as simple as someone is lashon hara'ing about someone that you do not like. Instead of adding in, yeah, this person did this person did that, maybe you can switch a topic. Maybe that one little act will be the thing that changes our lives. So let's really try to focus on what is happening to us on a daily basis, the good and the bad, and let's thank Hashem for our problems, because through that darkness, through those problems that we face, we can, God willing, reach greatness. In this week's Parsha Korach, you see Moshe Rabbeinu is approached by a fellow Jew by the name of Korach and 250 of his followers. Korach approaches Moshe and he says, why do you exalt yourself above the rest of the Jewish nation? What makes you so holy? Right away, we see Moshe Rabbeinu is shocked by this question and he falls on his face. Moshe then in turn tells Korach, I have a proposal. Tomorrow come back with a fire pan with incense offering, and we will all do incense offering and we'll see who is intended to lead the Jewish nation. We see Korach fails miserably, and in turn Hashem is so furious with Korach for he rebelled against Moshe Rabbeinu that he opens up the earth and Korach and his family are swallowed whole. They are killed on the spot. What we see here is that Korach was so focused on what he saw others having that he lost sight of what he has. He was part of a prestigious family. He was a Levi, and he was in charge for taking care of the Mishkan, which is a very honorable position. But he saw Moshe and Aaron in what appeared to be a better position, a more honorable position, that he lost sight of what his intent was, what his purpose in this world was. So in today's society, it's a very similar story. We see on social media, we see celebrities and they have a perfect house, dream car, they have what appears to be a good marriage, or we see others that appear to have a worry-free life that we think, okay, if we achieve those things, if we get to that millionaire, billionaire status, that it's just a perfect life and there's no worries. But it's important to remember that's not the life Hashem intends for us all. Everybody has a specific mission on this earth, the same way Korach did, the same way Moshe did. And it's so important for us to not make the mistakes of Korach. It's important for us to really focus and see what is our specific mission. What are we good at? What can we do better than others? You know, with today's society, it's so many opportunities to contribute to our community. We can join organizations, we can do Tomchei Shabbat, we can join APAC, or we could just, give our time and try to help someone land that dream job, help someone who just suffered a tremendous loss in their lives, Be there for someone going through depression or a tough time. Really try to see what we are good at. We each have an individual purpose in this world, and it is so important to find it so that, God willing, we can bring Moshiach very soon.